Welcome to the fresh edition of the Pan-African Drive here on Teledal TV with me, Tony Michael Howard, CKA News Socrates, tasked with the responsibility of inspiring and motivating the current generation of young Africans in the actualization of their respective dreams, preaching the message of peace and national unity, as well as revitalizing the Africanization policy that speaks about good governance, social justice, democracy, human rights, and most importantly, the African unity. And for tonight's edition of the Pan-African Drive, I'm super honored, should I say, very privileged to be seated with two great intelligence here in their respective corners. But just before I bring them forward for the show tonight, we take our short break, and once we return, I speak to you with my guest on set. But be reminded that this edition of the Pan-African Drive is proudly sponsored by Africa, the best GSM service provider, not just in the Gambia, but by extension the rest of the African continent. We'll take our break now. Once we return, we kickstart this 1 hour ride.
Scan the QR code and register on My AfriCell app, and boom, you get 1 gigabyte free instantly. Just scan, download, register, and enjoy. Check your balance, browse bundles, send and receive money instantly, pay bills in seconds, anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back from that short break. Remember, the development of the human mind is the greatest prerequisite to the development of any nation. Any nation that wishes to grow, she must first develop the human resource capacity of its population. And I welcome you to the 1 hour drive here with two intelligentsia, like I said, in Honorable Babukar Jeng of the Gambia First and the League of African Patriots. He's a politician and social competitor, political commentator, who's going to be here tonight, or who is rather here tonight to speak with me what I call the road to the presidential election come 5th December of this year. And he is sharing this platform tonight with Honorable Osenon Allen, who is from the National Alliance for Accelerated Advancement. We want to know how advanced his advancement is tonight. Should I say welcome to the show, Mr. Allen, and we're super honored to have you here for the second time.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I greet you. I greet my fellow panelists, Mr. Jeng. I also send my greetings to the Gambians, both in the Gambia and abroad, and also there's Africans within the African continent and the diaspora. Thank you. I'm glad we're here.
That's beautiful, Mr. Jeng. You were here just, was it last week? And I had to do this with you again. We're super honored to have you for the second time on the Pan-African Drive.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Yeah, not to take much of your time because we're already late, yeah?
That's beautiful.
Let's roll then.
Let's get it on. Those of you watching us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, we said this is your show, the only platform that is meant to build bridges between and amongst Africans by virtue of sharing our commonalities of all problems and finding corresponding solutions to the challenges or concern, if you like. Mr. Allen, you come from the National Alliance for Accelerated Advancement. We've been seeing the political space in this country. Everybody is moving in different directions, and there are a lot of conversations of alliances and counter-alliances and walking out of rooms based on lack of agreements here and there. Where have you been? Where are you? Are you part of the alliances or wanting to join any of the alliances, or have you left one of the rooms because of disagreement? Where is NAFA?
Important question, but everything will always take some things to the fundamentals of them. We entered the political space as participants. And primarily, if you aspire to become a political party, you need to compete. It should be your primary objective. If you measure your weight against probably your opponent, then you can explore other options. So we believe that the primary objective of us before any coalition is for us to compete. So we are still on that primary basis. That notwithstanding, we're also engaging those inviting us to coalition discussions. But it's been our principle that whenever we're getting into these discussions, we go there to observe, not to give any commitments. Because we've seen a plethora of political convergences And it's probably unwise to just spread yourselves too thin by committing to each one of them. Because the overall objective of those coming together is for them to eventually govern. And those that align ideologically, those that align economically, are the ones that can govern together. You cannot mix water and oil. So we need to study the space. We are not in no rush. We feel that at the end of the day, it is the Gambians who should have this final voice. So even if you have the best coalition movement, comprised of the best political parties, as long as the Gambians don't give you their blessings, you'll still eventually lose. So I think we need to employ more energy towards speaking to the Gambians whilst discussing coalition options. But I think we've flipped the cart before the horse.
That's good, Mr. Allen. I will take a short break there because of one technical issue. Once we come back, we continue this conversation. A quick break shortly.
We've got fantastic new social media bundles just for you. Here are your options.
50 megabytes for $10 is valid for 1 day.
Enjoy 400 megabytes for $40, valid for 7 days.
Get a massive 1,200 megabytes for $100 only, valid for 7 days.
Simply dial *120# and press 3 to pick the social media bundle that suits you best. Subscribe now.
Why settle for one when you can talk with two? With the Africell TOK service. For just $99, you get a massive 1,200 minutes of talk time to share between your two favorite people. To activate, dial *135#, select your two Africell numbers, and you're locked in for a full month of conversations. Africell, connecting you to your peoples.
Welcome back from that short break, and we send in our own reserve apologies for that break in transmission due to an element for technical fault. Mr. Jing, you listened to the submission of Mr. Allen. Is he on the right trajectory as a politician? Do you think he's on the right trajectory?
Actually, I respect people's perceptions in the way they perceive things, but I have my own standpoint when it comes to how I see what should be done and how it should be done.
Okay.
And my standpoint at this moment, like I told you from the other interview, was looking at the situation of the world as we speak, and Gambia being a small economy, and our situation socio-economically. I think it demands what happened during COVID-19, where it forced people to unite to combat something that was affecting all of us.
Okay.
And as we speak right now, Gambia is at a point where I believe the citizens, the politicians who are eyeing power should sit down and look at it from a different perspective, like I told you, what Lincoln did with the team of rivals. Okay. And let them come to the table where decisions are made, because it's two things here: governing and winning elections. Okay. And when I look at some of the manifestos and people who communicate their manifestos, I could see that they are talking to the people who are not yet ready for what they have to give. So breaking it down to their level, I think most of them have problems when it comes to the way they communicate to the population. Okay. You know, who matter, because like he rightly mentioned, it's the Gambians who should decide. It's the Gambians that go to the ballot box and vote. And those very Gambians are in their different spheres of life. Okay. And fathers, mothers, you know, children growing up wanting to see a good Gambia and having their hopes and aspirations, wanting to make it in life. And parents struggling, you know, for survival, you know, cash power, school fees, health, food on the table. So this is a whole matrix where I think the politicians need to shift paradigms in the way they feed the hearts and the minds of the people that are out there to go and vote. And in most cases, most of them, what they do is, for instance, they will demonize the one they want to replace instead of being very constructive in the way they criticize. and measuring the things that should be measured, what should be changed, how it should be changed, what should be done, and how it should be done, what was there that was wrong that should be, replaced by what. I think the clear definition of our governance, I haven't seen any of these political parties, opposition so-called, because like I told you the other day, to me there's no opposition.
There's no opposition.
It's just people trying to grab power from, the one whose hands power is. And most of them, he's an engineer, if I can fully remember. And if you want to, like I said, change certain things, which has its dimensions, its curves, its corners, I think you should be able to tell us, why that is and what you have, its accuracy.
Deductively, Mr. Jeng, you're saying that oppositions have not had a clear agenda, so to speak, of it. They've had a challenge with the methodology.
Currently, right now, they're all having internal struggles, trying to build up something that will replace the current government. And in most cases, you've said it before we started, people coming in and going out, and they're disputing over who leads and what type of a coalition they're going to build. And they haven't clearly defined to us how they're going to govern. Okay, what is the state of the country right now?
Let me hold you there, Mr. Jeng. They haven't clearly defined what the state of the country is, right? Do you subscribe to that subscription, Mr. Allen, that the oppositions in their respective corners have not had a common identity as to what they want to resolve or where they want to take the nation? Do you agree with him?
Now, that's probably more of a pro-government stance, but when you look at it from our perspective, that's NAFA, we believe that the government has not yet taken the first step of asserting their position legitimately as a driver towards Gambia's sovereignty. Because we are in a nation state, and a nation state needs to have identity. We did mention before, there are critical junctures to any person or any country. The first critical juncture Gambia experienced was post-colonial time, and that was when we were afforded independence. What should have happened is a roundtable discussion amongst those people who were tasked to lead and the Gambian population to define who we are, what development trajectory do we aspire to take, and also those fundamentals like language, because it's very important for a nation state to speak in one language. The other languages can be spoken at home, but we need a language that is native to us that reflects the way we think. But if you are speaking on borrowed languages, you will think like the person who gave you that language. Who is the Gambia? What is the Gambia? Those fundamentals are still missing to this government. So they are adopting a managerial approach to governance as opposed to sticking to the fundamentals where the Gambia will have an identity. If I were to ask you, if you were to give an example of the color, let's say the color of the Gambia, or if you were to write a postcard, what emblem will you put there of the Gambia in terms of architecture? We don't have an architectural style. We don't have an animal that reflects who we are, that we can go and visit. Before it used to be the elephant, we don't have elephants anymore. So that identity is missing, and it's reflecting in the trajectory of our development. It's all managing.
Okay, we have 1 hour to do this, and I wanted to stick to the points just as it should be. This man was very deliberate last week when he says that there are no oppositions in the Gambia. Today, he's reiterating that very statement that there are no oppositions in the Gambia. He thought I wanted to say that Adam Barrow is going to defeat these people very, very massively. I'm quoting him. Do you agree with him? I described that as a slap in the faces of all oppositions, but what's the position on his subscription that there are no oppositions in the Gambia?
It depends on the communication of the opposition party. But
do you want to agree with him? Because you are an opposition.
I'll definitely differ.
Okay.
Because I believe that at the end of the day, we are living in Gambia. We speak to people. We travel across the country. Unless there's another Gambia that we are seeing, but the people are not satisfied enough to overwhelmingly vote for Adama Barrow. But there are certain things that the people prioritize more than just removing an elected official. Stability. There's a saying by one American political thinker. He says, it's the economy, stupid, sorry for the word. It's the economy also. So if the political person who goes to communicate to these people cannot give them an economic program that ends up filling their pockets or satisfying their basic needs, then they'll go for the safe option. That is the incumbent. Gambians generally are not risk takers. That's why we don't innovate a lot. So we're not very driven for change unless we've been pushed to the wall. So I'm seeing a more softer approach from the government by not pressing too much on the opposition elements so that they can have a reason to cry foul. And Gambians are studying it wrongly. It all goes back to the fundamentals. Are these people ready to put Gambia on a pedestal of competitiveness in an age where the entire continent is moving forward and we are struggling with light?
Mr. Jane, when you made that statement in the comment section, you were being lambasted very seriously that there's a serious disregard to politicians who have been in a vanguard of all leadership and governance proceedings for donkey years, finding their way to the highest seat, even though they haven't had a chance to be at a higher seat. But you can't erase the fact that there are oppositions that have agendas, that it remains their inalienable right to contest in the highest seat. Where do you come from with there are no oppositions?
Actually, we all have eyes here, and we all have some level of experience when it comes to our political atmosphere.
Okay.
And when you look at during the time of Yahya Jammeh, we were united on purpose.
Okay.
And there was a shared vision. And the drive and the energy was there. Okay. And it was communicated to the Gambian population. Everybody was charged.
Okay.
And there was success here.
Okay.
Coming back to this election,
yeah,
2026, looking at the circumstances that are around us, is it the same as 2016 when Jammeh was here? The answer is no. And the reason why the answer is no is simply because when you see the current administration, I'm not saying they are 100%. They have their shortcomings. But the opposition, who is trying to grab power from them, are not communicating to the Gambian people. Yeah? Exactly why is it that these people have to be removed in power? Because all they do is point fingers, character assassination, demonizing the one who's sitting, calling corruption that cannot be clearly defined. So it's just a group of people trying to grab power. You know, I said it here the other time. It was the UDP that was in power, 2016. Like it or not.
Even though I did not agree with you, that was the United Democratic Party.
I will repeat it over and over again.
Okay.
Because they formed the majority of the people that were in these positions of power. Ministers, permanent secretaries, you name it. My friend, what did they do? It was from them that this country started going down the drain. Until at some point, they ran away from responsibility and start pointing fingers. So since then, there has been some power battle in this country. Them trying to grab power back, the current administration trying to grab power, hold on to power. So it's some kind of distraction all over, which is affecting our governance. So the reason why I am trying to go to this way and level of thinking is we have a situation. We have a situation, and it has how to call it, put every Gambian who has Gambia at heart, yeah, and is into this political atmosphere, being opposition, being NAFA or all these political parties, you know, because I in fact addressed SFL, they should all come to the round table where decisions are made. Let them get out there and engage the government. That engagement, sit down face to face with the current government, because it's their right. If they cannot go to the ballot box, there should be some other alternative that they can engage and be part of what they believe that should work. Write your recommendations.
Be part of what they believe that will work. So to Mr. Allen, he says that the oppositions have not been able to give reasons as to why President Adama Barrow should leave. You are an opposition, you lead a movement, you anticipate the nation's highest seat, the presidency. There must be reason as to why you do not want President Adama Barrow to continue. Give us the tangibles, or give the Gambian people the tangible. Why do you think Barrow should go? And he's saying that there hasn't been any why.
Unless we're missing the point here.
Okay.
I did mention it. And unless we want to be really serious as a nation state, the Gambia needs to be defined. You need fundamentals to move. Singapore, they came back and defined who we are. They looked at their history. What type of people are they? They created something that serves as a foundation block for them to progress. We cannot just keep firefighting solutions. Unless we come with a government that has the fundamentals, that is, create who's Gambia, create an identity amongst the people. It might take time, but create an identity amongst the people. Tardiness. I know you're very particular about tardiness. If we persist in tardiness as a people, will we develop? If consistency in providing power is seen as brushed off as just people being complaining a lot like the government does, how much time is being spent in wasting lack of energy? How much resources are we expending in getting alternative power that should have been put into resources that can move our businesses forward? So the fundamentals as a government is missing here. So all they're doing is just solving problems on the go as they come, but not long term. I'll give you an example from an engineering perspective. They're fixing roads, but it isn't accompanied by comprehensive drainage systems. And a road's biggest enemy is water. So that's what I always say. Look at a beautiful road. Look to the left of it and to the right of it. You've already damaged the lives of those communities because you did not factor the pathway of the water to the emptying point. So now they'll start flooding on this side. They'll also start flooding on this side. The road is there, it's beautiful. But how much in terms of tangible benefit are they giving if you weigh the benefit of the road against the harm that's being done to their everyday lives now? Where I live in London Corner, a big infrastructure was built there. It changed the face of that place. But London Corner started going down, started flooding. They're also developing the market there. If a comprehensive drainage program is not accompanied by that development, it will further keep drowning London Corner. People have started leaving their homes, those closest to the canal. So development needs to be comprehensive. It needs to be global. We've been communicating this. We are seeing the real-time effects of our communication. We're speaking to Gambians. They're relating to what we do. But the thing is, within the political space also, there is sensationalism. So unless we engage in sensationalism and attract thousands of people to come and listen to us, maybe our message might fall short. But one thing is certain, you cannot govern with someone you don't see eye to eye with. You don't. You don't see America, Donald Trump calling the conservatives, you have the Republicans and the Democrats. You don't see them sitting on one table and say, let's govern together. They're fundamentally different. We are fundamentally different from the NPP. We feel that it's just a convergence of convenience, and we are ideologically based.
I hold you there. Mr. Jem, we're driving close to the middle of this very conversation. In recent time, you've been very vocal and in support of the current regime for President Adama Barrow. Like it's been buttressed by the Minister for Information that if the Gambian people should judge Adama Barrow by development, then the president received nothing less than 75% of the vote come December. Are you guys just being unnecessarily flowery, or are there tangibles of supporting that argument? What are the evidence you want to point at in the lives of the downtrodden masses, not just in the urban area, but really to support that argument?
I mean, actually, the yardstick that he is using to measure and come up with that percentage, that's his personal way of seeing things, right? And as for me, I am not at a point where I will measure and give percentages as we speak right now. Like I told you, it's not about the president, it's about the presidency and the direction that the country should go. He made mention of Democrats and Republicans, sitting one table, but in the state of emergency.
And that argument from him was meant to actually eliminate your points of everyone coming on the same table.
In the state of emergency, we have a situation. And he mentioned about Gambia having a sense of identity, national identity. And all these things are like brilliant ideas. So if really, really, really NAFA wants to see progress, I think they have to have two wings that they fly with. One with the population, and the other, they should have a form of engagement. Right to the government is your right. Right to the president. Seek audience. Talk to him and these are our recommendations. This is how we want the country to be governed. Clearly defined. So this is the approach that we're going to take that will make us achieve national identity, long term, short term, clearly defined. The reason why I'm saying all this, I met the president, I sat with him, and we had a conversation.
What did you tell him?
He's not a difficult person.
What did you tell Mr. President?
I mean, that's personal. It's not about...
you are asking opposition to sit with the leadership for President Adama Barrow to tell him the best direction that the nation should follow. So now I'm asking you, you had an opportunity to sit with Mr. President, perhaps not once, not twice, and you currently support his agenda, directly and indirectly. What did you tell Mr. President?
I mean, that doesn't matter. That's between me and him. What I'm saying is...
And you want the masses to listen to your advice that they should sit with Mr. President and discuss the trajectory of the nation?
I mean, actually, when it comes to... When it comes to the state, at that level...
Mr. Jen, that's double standard.
When it comes to the state...
Do you want to agree that's a double standard?
When it comes to the state at that level and communication, there are certain issues that are so sensitive that when you go to speak to a leader at that capacity, there's secrecy, right? There are certain things that are confidential that you need to protect. Everything I communicate when it comes to how I want the country to be governed and how the country should run, I put it on my page.
Why should you be afraid for the Gambian people to know? Won't you actually
because
the best for the people?
I haven't officially endorsed NPP and President Barrow yet. When that is done, we will have people who are part of Gambia First, who are going to sit with the president and do our recommendations. This is how we want to see Gambia. clearly defined. And that will be communicated to both print media and social media.
Mr. Allen, we've seen massive emergence of political institutions in this country, of which you are one of such members of opposition. Projectively, where do you see this election come 5th December? He says that it's a massive landslide victory, buttressed by Honorable Minister for Information, and a few other people are saying that. But where do you see the election? Is it a rigid one? Is it a highly competitive one? Is it an easy one, like he puts it on the start of the incumbency? Is it an easy one for the opposition? How do you project the elections?
Yeah, for consistency, I would say the winner has not been declared yet.
But somebody says it's almost game over.
It cannot be. It cannot be, because unless we're talking to different sets of Gambians. The determinant for that is what needs to be done from now up until the point of voting.
Do you think you guys have enough time to do something?
I can only speak for ourselves as NAFA.
Do you think you have enough time, NAFA, to do something different?
We will make our own determination probably as the time gets closer.
What's your selling point to the Gambian people?
For us, it's about giving Gambia those fundamentals of nationhood. Number one, you cannot govern without justice. And in Gambia, if you're someone without a name, if you're someone without power, justice cannot be afforded to you.
How do you reconcile this argument with a young man, without taking anything away from him, a poor young man, so to speak, from Brufut here, Santasu, in Oseno Bojang, who has virtually nothing to be able to compete against national government, but he won government in that case when you say if you don't have a name.
He had a good lawyer.
But you just said that if you
who offered his services pro bono. He's one person.
Isn't that a plus on the side of the justice system of this country?
Have you been to the prisons? Have you been to the police stations? Have you seen how much injustice is happening in this country? So there needs to be urgent reforms. Urgent reforms in the criminal justice system, urgent reforms in our judicial system that prioritizes the victim as opposed to pushing all our energy towards convicting the perpetrator. I'll put inverted commas. We need to go back to who we are as a people. Historically, we gave lots of priority to the victim. So I'll give an example. Good example is the Oseno Bojang and Ami Bojang. The state did not miss an opportunity to throw the book at them. But guess who did not have any support? The wives of the slain policemen, their families. They're still left in a limbo. Is Oseno innocent? Is he guilty? They don't know. The state just didn't provide enough evidences, so the judge had to throw the case out of court and acquit them. What becomes of them? Have they found closure? So if we had a just judicial system that reflected our values, it would have taken care of them from day one, while seeking to prosecute those who've been accused of perpetrating that heinous crime.
Let me hold you there. Mr. Jane.
Can I say something before you go? Yeah.
You want to react to that?
I mean, the judiciary system is independent, right?
Should be.
NAFA, why don't they prepare their recommendations? Walk into the Ministry of Justice, the judiciary system, and put their list of recommendations of how they want justice to be served. What are the shortcomings? And listen to them, because they must have challenges. It is expensive to run a judicial system, right? Even when it comes to DNA, during the time of Bob Peter, I think DNA was done, not here, DNA test. So he should understand what exactly is lacking within the judicial system and let them communicate to him, even before recommendation. He should walk in there and understand what exactly is there in their hands. What level are they? What are their constraints? And then he go and sit back on the drawing board, like he says he's an engineer, before he puts a brick on any project, he goes there first, do a survey, quantify, measure, before he puts the first break. So I think he has to go back to the judicial system and let them inform him. Go on to the question.
I think that's where I'm going to hold you for us to take our first break here. And once we return, we continue the second half of this 1 hour ride here on the Pan-African Drive here.
You can now turn your loyalty points into data or voice bundles. Simply dial *772#, press 1 to check how many points you've got, press 2 to redeem those points. Recharge on AfriCell, buy credit on AfriMoney, buy cash power. Lord Efrek, you get points. Even when you redeem, your total points still stack up, giving you a chance to win one of 2 luxury AfriCell villas. AfriCell, 25 years of rewarding loyalty, and we're just getting started.
From that short break here, and we are on the Pan-African Drive where we've Mr. Jeng and Honorable Alan here on this show tonight. You wanted to react to his summation just before we took our break?
Yes, I think Mr. Jeng here is just presuming that we don't engage government. But we do engage government proactively. I can tell you, every 2 weeks we do meet people from the judiciary because we have something going on with them. We do engage people in the Ministry of Education. We do engage people from the ministry. We are part and parcel of society. And we are not of the type of politicians who wait for a government to fail before they proffer solutions. And if you look at our writings, we're always giving solutions, and we try to be very rational. We are not also always finger pointing. We always bring solutions to the table. So that recommendation, we are way ahead of that. We actually proactively engage government entities. That's why our diagnoses are usually very apt and very measured. We don't also go to the extremes of calling for the lynching or anything of that sort.
And I wish every movement does that. I respect that.
And another thing is, we're flying with 2 wings. We're speaking to the Gambians whilst engaging the government as well. That's why if you see our interventions, we are always emphasizing, even above all of these coalition discussions, go out to the Gambians and speak to them. At the end of the day, they are the final determinant of who is going to be elected. So we're using those two, whilst not dismissing the fact that convergence is what brought about change in 2016. He's mentioning an emergency is happening of the probable gravity of COVID-19. It might be. And that should be the determining factor to vote the NPP out. Because how many, I just walked in, I had a small trip I made. Walked into my house, my fridge is not working. That's me. Maybe I can go and get some second-hand fridge somewhere.
Okay.
How about the average Gambian whose livelihood depended on that fridge? Or the new business that they're doing of the washing machines? Talk less of the amount of hours the light goes off, but the damage that the on and off causes to these appliances. Is there a way to redress these people? They cannot go to court. They cannot sue now. This is just a system I'm telling you about. So that average person at the corner in London corner where I live, if they were to sue NAWEC, if they don't have a pro bono lawyer, who's going to represent them?
Unfortunately, I'm in the capacity to ask questions, not to answer one, except if
it's
a rhetorical question.
It's an open question for
okay.
Gambians to answer.
Go ahead.
So that's why we mentioned we need those reforms. Criminal justice reform. Prioritizing crime prevention. Prioritizing investigations prior to arrest. How they arrest people. How they detain them. The court process. If they're being convicted whilst they're in prison, are they going to be reformed whilst in prison? Life after prison. All those reforms need to be done so that we'll have a society based on justice. Then you have the judicial reform. where all these archaic laws that even those people who gave it to us have moved on from, we are still holding on to. We need those reforms changed. These are the foundations of a nation state. Territory. We are faced with a very aggressive neighbor who, for some reason, feels that now is the best time to assert their dominance over our territory, or what is contested. Is it a cabinet position to just cede all of these territories? Because we did hear from the Minister of Information saying that some of these disputed territories lies within Senegal. Can they provide us with the evidences? Is it a cabinet decision? What made them make that determination? We need to know, because we can read English, we can read fine print.
Let me catch you there. Mr. Jeng, there is one political mathematician in this country, in the former vice president in Her Excellency Fatimata Jallow Tambajang, who stood very tall back in 2016 against Yahya Jammeh as one of the strategists to ensuring that he would run into extinction from this country. And she's back, reactivating that very clause for mediating opposition political parties to ensure that President Adama Barrow goes. That's one person who actually pushed the ladder of Adama Barrow to have gotten to where he is today, and she wants him down this time around. Are you not uncomfortable that as strategic as she is, she can do something very different in terms of mobilizing this opposition to do something very different come 5th December of this year?
Actually, I respect their efforts. And as Gambians, they have all the right to initiate and implement.
Are you not scared?
Scared about what?
Strategies?
Scared of what?
That they could mobilize and get these people galvanized to ensure that, Barry's history?
I mean, actually, I don't see the reason to fear, because what am I fearing?
You have no regard for the opposition in terms of their strength.
All I want is
you have no regard for the opposition in terms of their strength.
All I want is a Gambia that works. But also, I'm not just going to sit down and allow anybody to come and tell me anything, and I just take it down. I agree with most of the things that he said,
okay,
to be quite honest, because it's the reality.
Okay.
So now, how it is implemented, that is where we have our eyes.
If you agree, then that undermines the strides that you speak of, Mr. President. If you agree with most of what he says, then it goes a long way to undermining the very stride that you preach for, Mr. President.
Actually, he's a Gambian, and he runs a movement that is on the path of being a political party.
Mm-hmm.
If he has anything that is sound and clear towards the right direction, I'll be honest, deep down inside me, to accept that what he said is right.
Okay.
Because he said that he is engaging the government. Because if you can totally recall, what I was saying is that they need to have a seat on the round table where decisions are made. They have to recommend.
Okay.
It's not just pointing fingers. It's not just talking about the problems, but bringing solutions on the table.
Okay.
Yeah? Solutions that are realistic. It's very obvious and clear. What do the opposition do? Like the opposition that are seen on the top of the structure, that these are the opposition people. What do? All they do is, point fingers and character assassinate. And it's just crazy. That's the reason why I sat here and told you that there's no opposition.
Mr. Jeng, if Talib Ahmed Bensouda rejoins the United Democratic Party, and you have an APP Sobea, that would be a formidable force to creating a very serious political havoc come 5th December. Don't you think so?
Actually, no matter who joins who, it's about what they are united on. People unite in hearts and minds and preferences. There should be a purpose-driven unity. They need to define the why. Coming together, heads together, crowds together, doesn't give Gambia what we want. It's not just taking Barrow out. If Barrow is gone, now what? intention is what matters. Why do they want to come together? Why do they want Barra out? If that is clearly defined, I'll be the first person to jump in, because I want to see Gambia where anywhere in the country there is progress is. I love this country.
Mr. Allen, do you think the opposition, 4 months to go, what's your hope and conviction that there will be something very formidable competitively come 5th December from an opposition perspective? 4 months to go, no time. What's your hope and conviction that it could be a very decent fight?
The coalition broker needs to be someone that's credible. You can have a very credible coalition broker and an unknown political entity, and the Gambians will still vote for you on account of the trust they place on the broker.
Okay.
So, like he said, converging upon an agenda takes priority over removing an incumbent.
So you subscribe to that?
I subscribe to that.
Okay.
The reason is, we converge to govern. You see that the current government is a spent force. Basically, this current government will just be an obstacle towards your goal, as opposed to just setting your goals at removing the current government, then deciding on what next to do. I think we've been there before in 2016. Objective was just to remove an obstacle, remove the government. Then once that was done, they started deciding what next to do. And we lost a lot of our sovereignty as a result of that indecision. So we believe that it needs to be defined. What are we coming together for? Are we coming together to push Gambia to a path towards sovereignty in an age where it's more, especially now, it becomes more true now. Globalization is diminishing. So governments are looking inwards more and more. So are we defining that sovereign direction that the Gambia needs? Sovereignty in our food, agriculture, sovereignty in energy, sovereignty in technology, whilst maintaining a unique identity as a people. This is the pathway to success for Gambia. If we have a coalition program that is molded around this reality, or even most of it, we'll be willing to subscribe to it. In the meantime, we're still engaging, whilst prioritizing speaking to the Gambians and also holding the government accountable.
The Gambians are watching you. You are in politics, wanting the highest seat of this nation. They're watching, they're listening to you objectively. From democratic credential and dividends, what's your rating of the Barrett-led administration for almost 10 years? On a scale of 1 to 10.
In terms of, we need to look at it from 2 angles.
Okay.
The social angle as well as the economic angle. Our social fabric is degrading at a very rapid pace. There's more crime today than it's been recorded or communicated. There's more drugs being used. Lewdness, a whole lot is going on within society that doesn't inspire hope. And if you're a government, you cannot just look at the economic component. You need to also balance it with the social aspect of things so that you can have that equilibrium. Second one is the economy. We have lots of unemployment going on. There are aspects of development like high rises, but there can be an explanation to that. If you have a boom in construction, maybe those funds that are being funneled wrongly is being put into infrastructure. That's a question. So it needs to be development that is benefiting the entirety of Gambia as opposed to just being lopsided. because that's what you call an oligarchy. And that's what we are experiencing today. With him, during the last government, it was more of a one-man show. But now we have an elite capture who are taking on the entire...
How did you describe it? Elite?
Elite capture. Because there's elitism going on. And we feel, because for us, he knows where I live. We live with the average person. We live with the average Gambian. If I'm crossing to go to the mosque, I have to step on blocks.
Yeah, but
that Gambia...
That's the responsibility of the local authority, you know. That's where...
So overall, what's the rating 10, on a scale of 1 to 10 with all of these explanations and details?
If I'm rating them, I'll rate them a fail. I will not give them a number, but I feel they failed, because if they had passed, I would be the one to support.
Okay. Mr. Jane, do you agree with his rating?
Actually, the situation is too premature to rate.
10 years? 10 years is premature to rate?
It's a process when it comes to development. And
but you don't call a decade premature?
There's an absent element here.
What is it?
Which I think we oversighted, because government alone is not doing development. We have the local government, we have the mayors, and we have the councillors. So that aspect of governance, we always oversight it, because they are closer to the people. They're in the doorsteps of the people.
Yeah, but Mr. Jeng, my
looking
question...
Looking at decentralization.
You don't have to carry me in a corner that I did not
looking at decentralization.
No, Mr. Jeng.
Looking at decentralization, yeah, is key in development.
This country is a unitary state, where all the political subdivisions are controlled by central government, right? And
but do you know the power? Do you know the power of local governance?
I just asked my question very specific, and I said that what's his rating of the national government? That's what I said, because they're a unitary state. So I'm asking you,
before you rate, you have to bring all the components together. All the elements should be present before you rate. That's the reason why there's a missing element that we did not capture. That is local governance. There's a lot of weakness in our local governance, and there are a lot of leakages also as well in our local governance. I think we have to be honest. If we have to point fingers at central government and oversight local governance, then we will not be fair, or we will not have an accurate judgment when it comes to rating the current, the current government. I think that has to be captured as well. That's my argument.
Do you have a counter reaction to that?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, please.
The government of the day defines the development trajectory of a country. They set the bar. The reason why people are so astonished by whatever the local governments do, it's actually an indictment on the central government. Because if I don't feel much going on in my community, yet some people, not everybody, some people look with admiration to the local government authority, it's an indictment of the central government. Because if they were to measure the development of the local government against central government, government should have put local government to shame in terms of setting the bar so high that local government will struggle. But if elections were to happen next year at the local government level, central government will not win. That's the reality. So we always push for central government to set the pace so that local government can follow. We're not even talking about the local government laws that really puts the local government entities at a disadvantage. They're not giving them the entirety of those funds that should be funded back to them, those taxes collected. We have our own program, probably, that we could address the shortcomings within the local government system. But today we're talking to the government We feel that the government should have set the pace so that local government can feel compelled to up the
Mr. Allen,
let me observe. You see, when it comes to the local government, government's responsibility is to give them back a certain percentage when they collect taxes, for instance. But as a mayor within a local government or chairman within a local government, there is so much potential, for you to raise money and give it back to where you man. The only reason why it's not working because of politics. There's this abstract barrier between local government and central government because the oppositions are manning the local governments, Banjul, KM, and Brikama, and there is competition instead of cooperation. Central government cannot do it alone. Local government cannot do it alone. So there is this abstract barrier between them. So there's a fight.
Deductively, are you saying that somebody who manages, for instance, a local government is afraid of taking up developmental strides because he or she thinks that government takes the credit? National government
it's not about
takes
fear.
the credit at the end of the day?
When it comes to local government, any major project that they have to implement needs to go through the ministry that the local government is answerable to, the Ministry of Local Governments and Land. And there is no synergy between these municipalities and the central government. So there must be some obstacles when it comes to development, which I'll put all of them in one box and blame them. There should be cooperation. They should put Gambia first. That's my argument.
Can I add something?
Miss, go ahead.
Just one point. The reason why I'm focusing more on government, I'll give an example. KMC, they attempted to do what they call cadastral mapping. It's like a land parcel system to ensure that every inch of land or every meter of land is identified for what purpose, ownership, or anything of that sort. It's very important because if it's managed well, land sales, rental of properties and stuff like this, taxation will become very efficient, both at central government and local government levels. But you cannot do it in isolation. So KMC, that's why they couldn't succeed. But if government has done a national cadastral mapping accompanied by a land use policy, then you can start doing zoning. All of these things will now become tools that the local government can use to, let's say, create special economic zones, and it will now boost the income.
Mr. Allen, when you speak, when people listen to you, you can trace that to a young man who needs the hand of a particular lady in marriage, so to speak. So he fantasized out of his necessary flowery expressions to lure her into that marriage. And once he would have succeeded in luring her into that marriage, and he sees that he's already succeeded in what he needed. That is actually the tone of an average African politician. That will point out all of the errors. How should Gambian be? Or what have you done to ensure that you be trusted or respected and valued to be entrusted with the mantle of authority if you are given a chance to lead this country outside of this rhetoric?
If anything I said here is out of the ordinary, mention it. All I've mentioned is just
I am the one to put you on the spot.
I'm just asking. It's just this. Make sure that the land you develop on is properly mapped. As an engineer, you cannot build upon someone else's land. You need to identify land that is owned by someone. Then you do the feasibility studies, then you do the planning, then you do the architectural design. Make sure that everything is done properly. That's why I said you do the cadastral mapping nationwide. Maybe it would have fixed this problem with Senegal. Maybe it would have fixed those speculative boundaries that probably is causing our oil to be siphoned to another country. These are fundamentals a country should sacrifice to do. We cannot compromise these things.
Thank you. Time is fast spent. Mr. Jing, I want to provide a space to speak to the Gambian people, your spoken words. You say you have something for the Gambian people. We want to listen to that. Permit us to break protocol and allow you to do that.
Yes. Under these mounting pressures, we fight each other more. The 20th century was an age of impersonal wars, but the 21st century seems like an age of personal malice. The rage thermometer is way up. Families quarrel, co-workers contend, prisons and courthouses are jammed, fanatics murder the innocent, contemptuous commentators swarm the media. The more outrages they attack, the more likes they make. This rising fever of contention makes me ill. I am deeply disturbed by the ways in which all of our cultures are demonizing one another. The worst era of human history starts like this, with negative authorizing, and then we morph into violent extremism. We all know where this will lead us. Do we go on a war path determined that we won't take it anymore, but we will take it out on our enemies? Do we play the victim, helplessly waiting for someone to save us? Or do we sit back stoically, with no real hope that things will ever get better? Deep down, do we believe that all perceptions are just placebos anyway? Or do we take positive thinking to the extreme and slip into a pleasant state of denial? Do we keep plugging away like most people of goodwill, doing what we've always done, thinking that this time things will be better? But no matter what approach we take to our problems, natural consequences will follow. War begets war. Victims become dependent. Reality crushes people in denial. Cynics contribute nothing. And if we keep doing the same things that we've always done, thinking that this time results will be different, we are not facing the reality. The significant problems we have cannot be solved at the same level of thinking with which we created them.
Thank you for that, Mr. Allen. Before we take leave of you, speak to the Gambian people. You have the space. Use your best local dialect and speak to the Gambians in whatever tone you want them to. Whatever you want to say to the people, talk to them.
Okay, I'll speak in English then Wolof.
Okay.
Gambia, we are at a crossroads. We've missed 3 opportunities, like I said, those crossroads that should have taken us to the path of becoming a competitive nation. We are frozen in time on every matrix when it comes to education, security, energy, technology, social cohesion. We're failing. What can we do to reverse this trend? You cannot invest in a manager that is failing your business and afford them the confidence to continue failing you. So this 2026 election, December election, is a decision point for Gambians to say, you know what, we've invested twice in you. This is how far you've taken us. We need to reverse trend, go back to the fundamentals so that we can put the government in the hands of those who are capable.
You want to replicate
that? Doesn't, okay, comme lu ñoo wax mooy Gambien yi jox ngeen doole, jox ngeen gafaka réew mi, jox ngeen ko président Barrow, jox ngeen ko NPP 10 years mu ngi nii kaaraange réew mi jëmul kanam marché bi tey la gën a seer courant bi mu ngi fay te kenn du ma wax ne daf ñu dab lack of planning la koo xam ne yaa ngi sa kër xam nga ne da nga war a jënd cash power jënduloo guddi bi su jotee doo binda bataaxal ne waaw waaye mu ñal leen ñu rek suba su jotee nañ dem jëndi cash power lack of planning moo tax ñu nekk di dundal lu nawet di dunda tey ñu ngi am problème yi xale yu nekk di dee si géej bi ñu ngi am problème yi xëy mi jigéen ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo form luñ dee ooy informal sector mooy business yoo xam ne register wuñ over 80% of jigéen ñi liggéey si informal sector bi la ñoo liggéey.
Time is now on our side. You have to summarize that quickly.
So moo tax ñu ne December bi ñëw ni jox ngeen opportunité Barrow président Barrow ak ñoom àndal ñaari yoon fii lañ ñu mun a indi foog ñu wecci xar kanam jox ko ñi nga xam ne mun nañ nafa mu ngi nii nag ñun ñoo leen mun indi solution boobu noonu ñu leen a jaajëfal bu baax a baax a baax.
Mr. Jeng, final words. We'll take leave of you in whatever language. You have 1 minute to do that.
I'll just do Wolof and
okay. Go ahead.
Actually, di rafetlu rek seen waxtu bi ngeen jël toog déglu te lépp li ngeen fi dégg éene bi rek mooy pour réew mi jëm kanam and yàlla moom tànn na ba pare waaw ñun moom dañoo sabablu rek waaye yàlla xam lu gën yàlla ñu ko defal élection bi yàlla nañ ci dugg ak jàmm buñ ci duggee tamit ñu dugg si ak teey ak dal xam ne rek ñun ñooy dajee si dëj yi ñooy dajee si ngénte yi ñooy dajee ci social gathering yi ñoo xam ne rek ñun ne benn lañ ñoo bokk ndey ak baay regardless of ban tribe nga bokk ban religion nga nekk lu am solo rek mooy ñun ñëpp Gambia ñu ñor Gambia lañ bëgg a gis mu dem kanam yàlla ñu yàlla jàppale.
Thank you very much. It's been a very beautiful experience having you two on set tonight on the Pan-African Drive. And I say to you, no nation hires its way into prosperity. It builds its way into that by virtue of a working population. Let's hold together than those who are so obsessed with title are limited in impact. We'll do this next Wednesday, 7 p.m. on the Pan-African Drive. Salute. And as I bow to you in humility, as I remain a slave in the service of humanity, Tony Michael Howard, News Secretaries. Bye-bye.
We've got fantastic new social media bundles just for you. Here are your options.
50 megabytes for $10 is valid for 1 day.
Enjoy 400 megabytes for $40, valid for 7 days.
Get a massive 1,200 megabytes for $100 is only, valid for 7 days.
Simply dial *120# and press 3 to pick the social media bundle that suits you best. Subscribe now.
Why settle for one when you can talk with two? With the Africell TOK service. For just $99, you get a massive 1,200 minutes of talk time to share between your two favorite people. To activate, dial *135#, select your two Africell numbers, and you're locked in for a full month of conversation.